Hi everyone, Gruntle here, and this is my guide to legendary and unique weapons in Borderlands the pre-sequel. This episode we're looking at Gwen's Other Head, which is a unique pistol manufactured by Dahl and kind of returning from Borderlands 2. So in Borderlands 2 there is a weapon called Gwen's Head, and this is Gwen's Other Head. They're pretty much the same gun. This will be found in one of several set locations in Titan Industrial Facility, and I've left a link in the comment section, no, not the comment section, it's above the comment section, below the like button, it's called the description, to the wiki page of the weapon, and there is an image of Titan Industrial Facility map and the locations of the weapon, or at least where that can be possibly found. So you've got to check in boxes, or safes, I think they are. Checking the safes, and one of them will hopefully have this weapon. So also in that safe will be a severed head, and that is part of the reference of the weapon, which I'll talk about in a second. So this weapon's always going to be at the level of the missions and the character that you are when you first get into Titan Industrial Facility, unless you finish your playthrough. So best to get it, if you want it, best to get it as soon as possible. Now it's always going to come in, not always going to come in, it's going to come in one of the many elements. It could be non-elemental or incendiary, shock, cryo, and corrosive damage. So it's going to be one of those. And this is what it looks like. It's got purple bits, it's got goldish bits, and it's got red blood splatters all over it. So that is that. Now the reference, the name, Gwen's Other Head, or Gwen's Head, and it's Gwen's Other Head because it was in Borderlands 2, but basically it's Gwen's Head. And Gwen is kind of a strange girl, as the red text. It's referencing the film called Seven, spelt S-E-7-E-N. It's very cool, you know, it's pretty cool spelling things like that. So basically, this is a spoiler alert, so I'll chuck that up on the screen. When it goes away, you can listen again. But basically, in that movie, right at the end, there's a cardboard box handed to the main character, and it contains his wife's head. And his wife's character is played by Gwyneth Paltrow, so that's Gwen's head. There you go. Now, this weapon will fire a 6-round burst, and each shot will have 2 projectiles, as you can see here, the ×2, and its burst fire, that's the 6-round burst, and that's because it's a Dahl weapon. Now, the parts of this pistol. So it's always going to spawn with this barrel, and that is the Malawan barrel, which is surprising for me. I thought it would be the Dahl barrel, but no, it's the Malawan barrel for this Gwen's Head. And that is going to increase your... No, Hyperion barrel. What am I saying, guys? Guys. I made a mistake. It's the Hyperion barrel. It increases your accuracy, reduces recoil, and gives you a 33% critical hit damage increase, while also decreasing your base damage and decreasing your mag size. So it's both good and bad. You can see that the mag size isn't too badly affected. It's still 40, so that's pretty good. Damage isn't too bad. I'll show you in a second compared to a purple version. And yes, the grip is also always going to be this grip, and this is the Dahl grip. So it's always going to spawn with this, and that reduces your recoil, increases your recoil recovery, and also reduces your damage. So we've got a couple of reducers to damage, but of course it's the 2×2 split projectile, so that's not too bad. The sight we have here is the Dahl sight. It could have any of the sights or no sight, but I've gone with Dahl because it matches up with the body and the grip of the weapon. Lastly, we have the attachment, and I have put on here the floated prefix attachment, which is the laser accuracy attachment. So it increases accuracy, increases projectile speed, but you could also swap it out with, say, the neutralizing prefix, which is increasing the damage, and that comes from this little baby here. It increases the damage of your shots, but also increases the recoil. So I've gone with the accuracy one just to help with the recoil a bit, because even though it's already quite accurate, it's nice to have that with the Dahl pistols, because they do get quite affected by recoil if you don't have things stopping that happening. What else is there to say? Oh yes, do not have it as with the twin prefix. You do not want it as this. It does add a single projectile to your shot, so that makes it ×3 instead of ×2. However, it's actually going to increase the amount of ammo used per shot by 2. So you only get 1 more bullet increase, but the ammo used increases by 2. So 4 ammo per shot rather than 2 ammo per shot. It doesn't say it here, but that uses 2 ammo per shot, I believe. I'll just test it here. Yes, 2 ammo per shot. So there you go. Do not use the twin prefix one. If you find it as that, use something else. Anyway, let's compare it here to the purple version of a Dahl pistol. I can't have it with exactly the same parts, I think. No, I've got it with exactly the same parts. Ignore what I was about to say. So yes, what we can see here is the base damage is decreased compared to the purple version. However, of course, it has the 2 projectiles that come out. The accuracy is slightly decreased. It doesn't really matter. Fire rate and reload speed are the same, and mag size is actually increased. So that is one of the good things about this weapon, apparently. I've just realized that. And also, you can see that the critical hit damage of the weapon is increased compared to the critical hit damage increase of the purple one. So there is also added increase, or added critical hit damage due to it being a special unique weapon. And also, apparently it has extra zoom. So there you go. I also wanted to compare it here to the blowfly, and just to show you that the base damage is decreased but actually overall increased because of the extra projectiles. It also has the same projectile count when it burst fires as the blowfly, so if you get every single shot to hit, you're going to get more damage with a... Let's compare the corrosive to the corrosive actually. So you're going to get slightly more damage with the corrosive version than with the blowfly. You also get that critical hit damage increase. The magazine size is higher and the accuracy is quite a lot better actually, but of course the corrode chance isn't quite as nice as the blowfly, and it's not a legendary as well, so it's not, braggable. But we shall have a look at the firing of this weapon. So if we're using niches, 1 for each of your skill, we have 1 pistol in each hand, of course. And if I fire that, you're going to see those 2 projectiles come off. And of course, because it's a Dahl, it's only single shot while it's not aimed down sights. You can see that it's not actually very accurate with the second shot. It actually comes off to the side to the left-hand side of where you're aiming. So one shot's going to go where you're aiming, and the second shot is going to go off to the side. So it's not always likely that you're going to get both shots to hit, which is a little bit unfortunate. I'll try and show you here, except it's just going to bounce off this wall the whole time. So we're not actually going to see it, but it's not terribly accurate. But if we aim down sights, we're going to get a heap more shots off, and the recoil isn't too bad. It's definitely easy to manage, just a little pull down as you're firing and you can get most of the shots off where you want them. However, of course, you're going to get all of those shots going off to the left hand side, so it's going to be good against a group of enemies, I think, and you can hit a couple of them at once, but of course you always get that shot going down the center, and it's reasonably accurate. Now I'm going to use Nisha for the gameplay in a second here, where I test out the weapon. However, I think it will be good with Nisha with her tombstone skill, and also her buffs to non-elemental weapons, which I'll actually spec into here, the hot lead, so you get incendiary damage, and I think there are some other ones over here that help out non-elemental weapons. However, of course, because there are the different elements, the incendiary and shock ones are going to be good for who's her name? Athena, because she has her Maelstrom and her Saronic Storm tree, so you can get those helping that out. Or of course there's the cryo version for Aurelia, and basically they're all going to be, I think, reasonably good weapons. for any of the characters, but yes, of course, those certain ones for the certain characters will probably be quite nice. Now we're going to jump to the gameplay with Nisha, of course, and I will let you know what I'm thinking of the weapon. So let's do that now. So here we are in Overlook with the Gwen's other head. I keep saying Gwen's head, but it's Gwen's other head. And it's taking out these enemies pretty decently, actually. But that might just be tombstone skill, although the first enemy without tombstone skill did go down at a reasonable rate, so that is a good sign. Now with this weapon, of course, the best way to play is going to be aiming down sights, and that is why I have actually spec'd out of one for each of you, and spec'd into some of the non-elemental damage increase for Nisha, because there's no point in using 2 pistols when you're just going to be aiming down to 1 pistol every time, or almost every time. I say that as I am not doing that. But anyway, the weapon is actually performing quite well. I'm not worrying about the second bullet hitting anything, I'm just worrying about the central bullet, because it's a bit too much effort to try and get the second one to hit things. However, with Nisha, she has the skills where ricochet happens, so it might actually be hitting anyway. And there you can see at range, it's actually pretty good at hitting enemies as well, because there's not a lot of recoil. So that is good, pretty decent weapon, nothing too amazing though. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you let me know. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time, and thanks very much for watching.